Hello, 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 and welcome again to another great episode of Let's Talk. I am your host, Regina Smithwick. As you notice, I'm one of our moderators and not here today, so I'm filling in for her today. So y'all don't be hard on me, okay? So I would like to introduce first Carla Morgan. She's the co-host, as y'all know, and producer of the show. Carla, say hello.
Hello,
All right,
everybody.
and
Hello, let's
we're going.
talk.
Oh, let's talk. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce our guest today. So Morgana Rae is a global authority on making and keeping more money by putting love first. An international first number one best-selling author with over 28 years as a pioneer in personal development. Morgana guides entrepreneurs, innovators, healers, and humanitarians heal the rift between heart, spirit, and money to save the world as only they can. Morgana is currently 25 weddings and will be 26, deep into getting married 100 times in 100 countries to one man. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Morgana Rae. Yay! Welcome
So
to our
happy to be
show.
here.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. And as you know, I am Regina Smithwick. I am your host with the mostest. So I want to welcome you again, and to thank you for joining us for another great episode of Let's Talk. Tonight's show is going to be something to talk about, and so let's talk. All right, welcome back. So before we get started, like I always do, I open up with a prayer. So just give me a moment. Lord Heavenly Father, thank you, thank you, thank you once again for allowing us to be this vessel for you as we introduce new ideas and thoughts. As we always say, we want to motivate, uplift, and empower our audience. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Amen, amen,
Amen.
amen. So let's go ahead and just dive into this. I'm so excited about this. Like I told y'all last episode, that this is going to be something that's going to be new for a lot of us, a new concept. And she breaks it down so lovely. So I'm looking forward to talking about this. So let's start off with, what is the concept of your talks as in Money Honey? And I said the title of the show is Love and Money. So let's explain that really briefly. Then we'll get into some more detail.
Well, in my experience, because every human being has a relationship with money. And for most of us, it's not a good relationship. Even people who have wild, crazy amounts of money have so much anxiety, and they're so focused on those few other people who have even more. So, when they're afraid of losing what they have, or it's getting in the way of relationships, and what looks very wealthy from the outside, from the inside, is actually just a very fancy level of poverty, because they're in anxiety. There's still drama, there's still scarcity and fear. And so what I find so fascinating about money, because really what I'm most interested in is our relationship with life, our life experience here, in the little short time that we have together. But money is the number one excuse human beings give for everything we can't have, do, or be. And if, let's say, we were in a relationship and I were to say to you, I'm going to pick on you, Regina, so I'm going to apologize ahead of time.
No, that's all right. Go ahead.
Regina, because of you, I can't go to Switzerland. I can't send my daughter to the college that I want to send her to. I can't have the kitchen remodel I want to have. I can't get the basic health care or the quality of food, or the status among people that I want, all because of you. You cause wars. You cause abuse and pollution and animal abuse and trafficking and all that. It's your fault, and I wish I didn't even have to have a relationship with you. If I dumped all that on you, how would you feel?
Horrible.
Would you want to stick around?
No.
And if you were me and you really believed this about another person or another entity, you really wouldn't want, if you believed all this about money, you would have a lot of very, very good reasons to push it away. No matter how much you know you need it, how much you want it, no matter how many mantras and vision boards and affirmations you have, no matter how much positive visualization you do, no matter how many times you go down the checklist of negative money beliefs and replace them with positive money beliefs on those little forms, doesn't matter, because in our life experience, and we're not insane, we didn't just make this up, and it's not just us, it's our parents and our grandparents and our ancestors. We have this experience in our blood and in our DNA of money being abusive, of rewarding bad people and hurting good people, and we don't want to have anything to do with that. And we want to protect ourselves from that. And that creates a really sticky problem because we need it. And we also need it to be a good relationship. Well, the reason I focus on relationship with money, besides that it touches every area of our lives, our romantic lives, our families, our health, our home environment, our life purpose, like our freedom to, just to the extent that we can help others, even if it isn't our money, you need to use money to help. So I believe that when we can heal our own relationship with money and make it a force of love, because it's this area of our lives that need our love and our healing, then we have a ripple effect. Because honestly, the human race needs to have a healthier, kinder, loving, changed relationship with money,
Right.
and each other. So
Right. Go ahead.
okay, I believe that money and love, you can't separate them. It's, if any money issue, if you dig deep enough, you're going to find love issues, love wounds, love traumas. Just the experience of not having money feels like not being loved. And that little, dopamine burst of receiving money feels like the divine loves me. And this person who paid me loves me. And we get, all these really, really good feelings. And it all begins with our parents, because our parents are our very first experience of money. They feed us, they shelter us, they tell us that we're valued or we're not. They tell us that we're loved or we're not. They keep us safe or they don't. Very much like money. So any trauma or challenges that you had in that first relationship are going to show up in your relationship with money later on. And even if that was totally cool, even if you had wonderful parents and a really happy childhood, later on in life, the betrayals, the rejections, the things that you did that you're ashamed of, all of that starts to shape your relationship with yourself and life, and then by money. Because the funny thing about money is it's made up.
It's
Like,
energy. Yeah.
we just, as a species, collectively decided to share this make believe that one bag is worth $5 and another bag is worth $5,000, but they're just bags. And we invented this thing called money because it was a lot more convenient than cows or blocks of tea or bolts of silk and all the other stuff that we've used. So great, that's neutral. Who cares? But it gets really sticky because what it represents in our human experience, the meaning it represents is like everything to us. Because money represents love. Are we loved? Are we lovable? It represents worth. Are we worthy? Are we valued? Like, how are we treated? Do we, and finally, and this is really the biggest one, is safety, to the point of our right to exist, especially in a culture where you have to pay for medical care, is kind of insane.
Yeah. Yeah.
That you have to pay for your life is scary, heavy stuff. So what I want to do is and I know I'm coming on like with all this like negative, like feel
Well, it's
bad.
not really
No,
negative. I mean,
not negative.
it's not negative. I think it's more of starting with this basic foundation of what money is and what love is and how it intertwines with each other. And
Yeah.
I'm glad you said that, because I want to intertwine a couple of things that I believe that it makes a big difference. I know me and you had a conversation before, and we were talking about being single and money and love and dating with money. Let's talk about that, because that to me amazed me, how dating and money and how that intertwines into our dating life. So you want to talk about that a little bit?
Oh, I'd love to. The funny thing is on August 11, 2012, and there's a reason I remember this date. I was several cities over recording some videos for a girlfriend of mine who's a dating coach matchmaker, and she was launching a new online program, and she wanted me to talk about money and dating. And I was talking about how devastating it is for men. If a man doesn't have money, it's almost like he doesn't have the right to date. And it's castrating for men. For us, we have a lot of expenses that guys aren't aware of or don't respect, but it takes a lot of resources to put on the pretty for a date,
Yes. Yep.
Um,
They don't
Yeah,
realize
it
that.
does. It really does.
yeah, they don't count that, because they count how much they're spending on coffee or lunch, and they aren't counting like the hundreds of dollars for like everything that's on us,
Mhm.
for their benefit. But I would just say that from my perspective, it's really painful and unfair for guys, because they don't feel man enough and worthy of dating. And we look at them and we don't think that they are man enough or worthy of dating, because we want to feel safe. And this is the big problem. How
Hmm.
money gets in the way of love is when people feel unsafe. All the parts of our brain that are the love parts, and there was a study back in 2009 that I found fascinating, like all the parts of the brain that light up when we're at a family picnic and we're with the people we love, all those parts of those happy parts of the brain shut down as soon as the topic of money comes up. And it goes to like the base reptilian back of the head, part of our brain that's all about survival, all about I just need for me, buzz off. And so for men, they feel castrated and angry, and they blame us, which can lead to really horrible, every mass shooting that I've seen in the last 10 years has been some guy who was pissed off at a girl.
Mm.
And for us women, when we feel unsafe, our armor goes up, and it's really hard for the love to get in.
Right.
We're very defensive. So the fun thing, the totally unexpected, unintended consequence that I discovered when I started doing my work and coaching a lot of clients through this process, is that when they slayed their money monster, which we haven't really gotten to yet, but like when a woman slays her money monster and she meets her new relationship with money, who is like this gorgeous, it doesn't matter if you like guys or you like girls, but it's just this, this, oh my gosh, beloved, hot, dreamboat of a kind of a romantic partner archetype. And so women, when the monster's gone and now they've met their money honey, and mine is a guy, so I'll just talk about guys. We're like, oh, finally I can relax, and we just sort of melt and we become soft and we become glowy, and
Right.
people like respond. I had a client who was in her 70s who, as soon as she met her money honey and the session was over, she went out and had a walk, and strangers were giving her flowers. Because when we feel safe and we feel loved and we feel worthy of that love, we are like, Mary Tyler Moore, who can turn the world on with a smile. We're just like radiant. Everybody loves us. And guys are really fun, because when they slay their monster, like, we're like, oh, we women are like, oh, I can just like swoon into the big brawny arms of my strapping money honey. And for the men, they're like, they are the hero. So they slay their monster, and their money honey shows up and is like, oh, you slayed the monster for me. And the guy's like, I did. And they're like, their shoulders are broader and they feel better about themselves. And even before anything changes financially, people relate to them differently because they love themselves more.
Right. And they show it. And it shows.
They are tapping into and seeing themselves as they really are, which is not your circumstances. We think we are our circumstances. Yeah. We're told.
Okay, can you elaborate?
Right?
Yeah. Can you elaborate on the money monster? What exactly is that specifically?
Okay. So I did a lot of prep work when I'm just like slamming on money. Money is so bad, all that kind of stuff. So what I was setting the stage for is, if you are doing the stuff you're supposed to be doing, and and there are books, and there are teachers, and there are coaches, and there are employers and colleges, and you do the stuff you're supposed to do, and you do a good job, and you're applying yourself, and you are not getting the results that you should be getting. And I think we all kind of have a sense of what results we should be getting when we're putting forth the effort over and over and over again, especially women. Like, women work so much harder. And when you're still not seeing the results that you should be getting, and it's not making sense, and it hurts, and you find yourself just getting more and more frustrated and more angry and more despairing. It is, in my experience, that this thing that you're pursuing is also something you're protecting yourself from, because it becomes that rejecting, dangerous, abusive monster. And I'll give you an example. I'll use myself. So a couple decades ago, I had already been coaching for a number of years. I had a bunch of celebrity clients. I had mountains of testimonials. I took all of the classes on marketing, and I had, the business cards and the brochures and the taglines and the website, and on the, inner side, I also had the vision boards and the affirmations. And I live in LA, so we have a bunch of healers who will wave their hands and change your money DNA and all that kind of stuff. And I was making $100 a month living in Los Angeles, which is like making $100 a month living in New York City. It's not possible to live that way.
No.
And it didn't matter what I did. It didn't matter that I had celebrity testimonials. It didn't matter that I had great marketing. It didn't matter that I had a beautiful vision board. It didn't matter that I took class after class and got certification after certification to become more qualified. Didn't matter. And at one point so not only am I not making money, but I'm spending a fortune on getting more credentials and trying to fix the problem, doing everything. So I am an overachiever at failure, because, it's an accomplishment to do what I did and still be struggling to make $100 a month. This was
Right.
back in 2002.
Okay.
So I had like one of those moments where I just was so disappointed that I couldn't cope. And I had a breakdown. I had just taken a class on overcoming sales objections where they tell you what to say when somebody says, I can't afford it, I don't have it, or I don't have the time, or whatever they say. And there are, scripts that you're supposed to say. And I'm such a good student. I would say the scripts and they would say, oh, okay, I'll hire you. 7 times in a row, because I'm such a good student. 7 times in a row, I overcame their objections. And 7 times in a row, they didn't show up and they didn't pay, which is, by the way, why I'm totally not a believer in overcoming objections. I think that's disrespectful. If somebody has an objection, fine. Okay. They just don't want it, and that's okay. But for me, I was doing so much and I had so much hope riding on it that when I got disappointed and stood up the 7th time, I despaired. I was in my little teeny tiny Beverly Hills adjacent, according to the landlord, apartment. And I got on my bed and I screamed and I cried and I howled and I had so much rage and despair, and I felt hated by the universe and I hated the universe back, and I just didn't want to be alive. I was so frightened. Like, there was nothing left to do. I'd done it all. So what? And it felt so just cruel and mean, and I didn't want to participate. And this is a very scary, dangerous place to be. And when I was done just crying myself empty, it's like sinking to the bottom of the pool or the bottom of the ocean is what it feels like, looking at the world from the bottom of the ocean. Something interesting happened, because, at a certain point when you can't get any lower, you can only go up. And I just sort of exhausted myself, and I had this curiosity about what the heck was inside of me that couldn't be with money, because it did not make sense. Like, on paper, I had better results. I had more testimonials, more certifications, blah, blah, blah. It didn't make sense. There were people who wanted to hire me and it wasn't happening. And I was just so deeply in debt. And it didn't make sense. And I just got curious. And the next day I had a call with my coach, which is so ridiculous because I couldn't pay rent, but I had a coach and a good coach. And I have to say, thank goodness, because that probably saved my life. And I had been working with this gentleman for months and months. And he couldn't figure out what was wrong, because I would do everything I was told and I would do it well, and I could fail anyway, wow. And this time was different. I was in such a dark, sad, miserable place, and I just dumped it, which honestly, if you're working with a coach, bring the worst of yourself. That's what a coach works with. And something happened, and he was inspired, and he asked me this weird question that completely changed my life. And he asked me, Morgana, if your money was a person, who would your money be? And I saw my person instantly. I'm lucky because I was in like such a heightened experience of despair that it's almost like it circumvented my intellectual brain from getting in the way and micromanaging and controlling everything. And it doesn't work if you do it that way. But because it was just so spontaneous and I was in so much pain, this money person immediately appeared in my mind's eye. And he was big and scary and dirty and violent, and he terrified me. And I never knew that I felt that way about money until that moment, until I saw who he was. And that's the moment it became a real relationship. It wasn't just okay, money is the root of all evil. Let's talk about that. Some pointless intellectual exercise. It was suddenly real, like flesh and blood, terrifying, bad person who I had to keep away. And that's when my financial situation made sense for the first time in my life, because I could feel completely through my body that I had to keep this guy away, and that's what I've been doing all along. No matter
Mm,
what I was doing consciously,
Mhm.
unconsciously, I was creating distance between myself and money. And I knew there was no way that I could change that if
mm,
money was this guy. So I had to get rid of him.
Okay, and that's where the slaying part comes at.
Right.
They slay the monster of the money.
This is kind of a secret, but I didn't actually slay the first one. I just got rid of him. We sort of broke up. He wasn't happy. I wasn't happy. That was good enough. But when I started, and I haven't completed the story and the process with myself yet, but on the other side of it, when I started, when I changed my relationship with money, I was instantly getting a ton of clients. I was not marketing the whole relationship with money thing for years until years later.
Mhm.
But my clients were human beings and had money issues. So I had this thing that worked on me that I wanted to try on them.
Mhm.
mhm,
And over the course of coaching other people, I learned what has to happen and what makes it work that I didn't know when it just sort of happened spontaneously to me. But when I started working with other people and saying, oh, this is not working. Why is this not working? Oh, this is what needs to happen. Okay.
Mhm.
So what I did find is that it just works better if you kill the beast. Like, and my crowd, like the people who follow me, are the love and light, peaceful, vegan, spiritual, religious, super kind, wouldn't hurt a fly types.
Mhm.
And I'm telling you to, like, call forth all this righteous wrath and be like over the top violent and obliterate this imaginary person until there's no trace of it left. It's really liberating, especially for women. It's like
Mhm.
because we're so nice. Because if we aren't nice, we can get killed, you know?
Mhm.
So there's something really like your name, Regina, Queen. There's something,
That's
powerful and queenly about saying, thou shall not exist in my realm.
mhm.
mm,
This is my life and you don't get to exist here. I choose me and I annihilate thee. You are gone. You do not get to be in my life experience. So like everything that you don't want in your life experience,
Mhm.
every societal injustice, every personal tragedy,
Mhm.
everything that you don't want to carry forward with you, you put it in that person that we called a money monster, but it's so much more than money. And it doesn't feel like money, but it feels like monster. It feels like
mm.
everything monstrous in life. We're going to put it in there, and then you
Okay.
get to choose. My mother back in the 80s was big into Highlander. So I remember there can only be one.
Mhm.
So that one has to be you, because only one of you is going to survive.
Mm,
And when you destroy the monster, you are choosing yourself and your loved ones. And by the way, if you have kids, that monster will go after your kids. So if you are not sufficiently motivated to make sure it's destroyed for yourself, destroy it for your kids. And when it is gone, you'll
Mhm.
know it. It will
mm,
feel like there's nothing there. For myself, when I got rid of my first monster, even though we only sort of like broke up, what I what I was aware of
Mhm.
was this absence of something that had always been there my whole life. It felt like there was this empty space, which was a problem. Well, first, there were two problems. I lived in Los Angeles and I had just gotten rid of my relationship with money. And you have to have a relationship with money. The other problem was I had this empty space and I didn't want the monster to come back. So I needed to fill the space before he could change his mind and come back.
Mm-hmm.
But my relationship with money had been so like horrible and soul crushing and disappointing. It made me feel bad about myself and bad about life. And if you've ever been in a really abusive, soul crushing relationship, you know that you're just not like in a rush to jump back into that again. But I didn't have any time to not have a relationship with money. I didn't have that luxury. So I needed a relationship, but I didn't want to have a repeat of the same. So I thought to myself, well, who could I want so much? Who would be so wonderful that I could want to have a relationship with this person, even if it's money?
Mm-hmm.
And a couple of things, you know, now me, decades later, talking to you, sharing secrets. A few things here.
Mm-hmm.
Money, the new relationship with money doesn't feel like money. It feels like love. Like the person who comes in is going to feel like a god of love or a goddess of love. That the relationship comes before the cash. The love comes before the cash is one thing. And when you have destroyed everything that was that money monster,
Mm-hmm.
all that's left is love. So it's going to feel completely different. So when I asked myself that question, the person who showed up in my mind's eye, and I didn't know how important this is until later when I was coaching other people, was he showed up as this like super cute guy, like so cute. Think John Ossoff, you know, just clean cut, romantic. That's sort of, I think he's going to be my next money honey. But yeah, he was like clean cut. He showed up in a tuxedo holding a bouquet of red flowers as if he wanted to like take me off to the theater. And the most surprising thing was that I could feel how much he loved me and wanted to woo me, which was a very odd experience that I'd never had with money before. He was just a cute, romantic man who was in love with me, who I liked back. And I also had this really strong sense that he had been there for a long time, and I had just been pushing him away and breaking his heart. And I could feel his pain. I could feel his vulnerability. This is also really important because I'm not teaching you to imagine that money is some cute person who is going to be like Santa Claus and you sit on the couch and he's just going to dump piles of gold on you. It just doesn't work that way because it doesn't evolve you. That doesn't empower you.
Now, I have a question before you go on. It was something that I wanted to get on before Carla got to go to some of the comments. But I have saw something that you did, and it really intrigued me. It was a money magnet, and you said raise your standards on who you spend your time with because you become like the four closest people that you spend most of your time with.
Right.
I thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah.
And by the way, that's actually going to tie into how my money honey helped me find my husband.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna finish my story and then tie that into your question.
Okay, cool.
Okay, so I meet this cute guy and I can feel that he wants to be with me. And I realized I didn't know how to let him be with me because I had been pushing him away my whole life. Now, the cool thing is when you make money a person and a person worthy of your deepest admiration and trust, you can ask a question and this person will respond like a real relationship. So I asked him what he needed so he could stay with me. And he said he needed me to love him and to stop treating him like a monster. So we talked about, well, what does that look like in real life terms? And we made a deal that next time he brought me a gift, which would probably look like somebody wanted to hire me, instead of freaking out when they asked me what I charged, and by the way, I was charging way, way too low, but I had such guilt and shame about charging money as if money was some icky,
Right.
shameful, stinky monster that I didn't want anyone to know about. So, and
Hmm.
imagine how that made him feel. So I made an agreement that next time he brought me a client, I would say thank you with the energy of love. And then I would shut up and let them make their own choice. And 4 people hired me the next day at double what I'd ever charged before. And they just kept coming. And
Mm.
one of the things that I've learned from myself, but even more from coaching other people, is there's always the question of how do you make your money honey happy? Now, some people can get off on the wrong tangent and think that you need to earn your money honey's love. You don't. That's always a given. But we have bodies and we are the gatekeepers, and some of the things we do may push money away.
Mhm.
One of the top things that we can do that can repel money, push money away, make him feel unloved, unwanted, or just cause him too much pain that he just doesn't want to see it, is when we are abusive to ourselves, when we allow people to abuse us.
Mhm.
It's like a knife in the heart to this person who loves you. Think of what it's like when someone you love is self-destructing and how agonizing that is.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
working for free for people who don't appreciate you is like cheating on your guy with somebody really icky who doesn't value you.
Right.
So,
That makes sense.
so back to raising your standards. How you turn your money on, like make your imaginary money person really, really happy in that lovey, glowy vibe kind of way, is everything that you do that respects you and exalts you. So being in relationships that are uplifting
Mhm.
makes your money happy and expands your energy and makes you feel better about yourself, which makes you even more attractive to clients, to people who respect you, and to money and to
Mhm.
yourself. So I changed my relationship with money back in the beginning of 2003. And in 2012, I was 45 and still single. And I've been looking, like I've been looking since before I chased Brian Patterson under the piano on his 5th birthday, and Brian was the older man. So I was looking for a really long time. And
Mhm.
I kept like pouring my heart out to my imaginary money honey. Like, where is my guy? And my money honey was always like just a big grin, so happy, so confident, just always saying, he's coming. He's coming, but he has to love you as much as I do. That's how you'll know.
Okay.
Mm.
So on August 11, 2012, after I had just shot all these videos on dating and money, and there was one question that came up that was I want to touch on here, because this was the day that I met my husband. But hours before I met him, I was like on camera answering all these questions. And one of them also is, why is it important for women to be financially self-sufficient and financially free? Especially because so many women have the experience of, I'm intimidating men. And by the way, I had that experience where I was making so much more money than men, I was scaring them off.
Hmm.
And that happens, and good,
Yeah.
good. They're just
Mhm.
Yeah.
not the right guy. It's not that there's anything wrong with you.
Right.
However, if you're feeling insecure, which makes you want to be impressive, then you might brag about your money and your business, and that's not going to be very romantic to the guy you're with.
No, it's not.
So But I would also say that he probably wasn't your guy anyway because you were feeling insecure with him. The thing about my husband, who I met after shooting these videos and sitting in traffic for 3 hours, getting back home, couldn't even go and change, just showed up at where we were going to meet. And he was a lot cuter than I expected. But our date lasted 6 hours.
Mm.
And one of the biggest things that I noticed on our first date was I felt so comfortable and relaxed with him. I had no impulse at all to impress him. It just, I didn't have that need to be like gay and entertaining or smart or super successful. I just didn't care. I just felt like I could be myself. So when you're dating, look, check in with yourself. Do I feel relaxed? Do I feel safe? Do I feel like I don't need to perform?
True. Good point.
And Devin turned out to be that guy that my money honey kept telling me about. In fact, there are moments where my husband will tell me what he wants for me, and I can see like my money honey standing behind him laughing because my money honey had been nagging this. Like there was a time where I was like promoting other people in my profession because I wanted to be friends.
Mm-hmm.
And my husband saw that it wasn't really reciprocal. So what my husband wanted for me was to have friends who didn't expect me to mail out and promote their stuff. And when he said that, I could see my money honey just like now will you listen? So before I met my husband, I was teaching a class sort of like this conversation we're having. I was talking about how if you're doing everything right and you aren't getting results, you may be protecting yourself from what you want. And I heard myself say that. And I had that like, feeling because I was taking all the classes on relationship and finding your love and reading all the books and doing everything, just like doing everything I was supposed to do. And I was still striking out. And I was 45 with a perfect, unbroken record of romantic failure. And this was the thing that I had always wanted more than anything else. And one day I finally just caved and decided, I have to slay a love monster.
Mm-hmm.
Because I could hear myself, I could see the parallels.
Right.
So I did what I did with money, which was I dug up all the things that made love unsafe. I started back in the days with money. And I'm actually I'm going to jump all over the place here. I never really plan. But when you want to uncover your money monster, we're going to jump to money and then we'll come back to love. Step number 1 is uncover the root cause. The root cause is never money. It's like the root cause of your diabetes is not diabetes. It's the whatever makes your, the sugar or the genetics that cause the diabetes. So the root cause of the money drama is not money.
Mm-hmm.
It's the stuff behind the money.
Right.
Power struggles. By the way, totally, you can use like systemic injustice. Throw that in. Let's not pretend it doesn't exist.
Right.
But, anything that has ever made you feel unloved, unsafe, or unworthy, and you just want to like dig up this sort of like court case against existence, like you're in front of God going, this is why life sucks. And you're the attorney making the case. And when it's like big enough and you're convinced that it's terrible, then you imagine that there is a person who's responsible for all of it. who has singled you out more than anybody else. This is your personal relationship with money. And this person has orchestrated all of it to make you miserable to the point that eventually you're just going to give up and kill yourself or die a horrible death after seeing everybody you love go down. That's how much damage money can do.
Yeah.
And all the things that you put into that root cause, like the natural, logical end result is your death. It's that bad. So you want to put all that on this imaginary person. And I say imaginary person, even though it can be an historical figure or a public figure, it just can't be you and it can't be your parents. Even if your parents were monstrous. And there are some parents who are. Because in step number 3, you're going to obliterate, destroy, annihilate that monster without killing yourself and without killing your parents. Because you wouldn't do that in real life.
No.
You wouldn't do any of this in real life, but there's an inner conflict.
Yeah.
We just shouldn't kill our parents. However, the monster may have used your parents to hurt you. So when you destroy the monster, you become safe. That's step number 3. Step number 4 is, now that the monster's out of the way, all that's left is love. Now you get to meet the new relationship with money. The money honey.
Yeah.
It can be a he, it can be a she, it can be a they. It's your flavor, that just makes your heart flutter and you feel loved and happy to be alive. Step 4 is you have a conversation with this new money honey. I like to start with, what do you need from me so that you can stay with me the way you so obviously want to? And then step number 6, really, really important, is you take concrete physical action to demonstrate to yourself this relationship has changed. And the action doesn't have to be about money. It can be going dancing or taking a trip or doing your laundry. You just have a conversation with your money honey and see what lights him up. And I mentioned the laundry. I had a client whose money honey, she was going to go away for the weekend. He wanted her to stay home and do laundry. She got a phone call and a $20,000 client. So I love that. I love that weird, crazy stuff. And I just have like hundreds of stories of.
Now they all. I mean, I think that, well, from what I'm hearing, that relationship with the money person is kind of what goes in sync with your destiny, kind of like when it comes to money. So I'm right now. I think we have a couple comments, Carla. Let's go ahead and get some of these comments in.
Okay. Neo Positivity says, hello, everyone. Hello.
Neo.
Hi, Neo. Bonnie Blue says, hello. Neo Positivity says, sounds like some dude I know named Neo. LOL.
Oh,
talking
that's when
about
you
your
were talking
money
about
honey.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bonnie Blue says, this topic is right on time. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it is. It is. So, all right. So let's go into a couple of things and then we'll come back and we're gonna get ready to close out in a little bit. So let's go into hold on one second. All right, so let's go into your Ring Out Your Sponge. And I am so excited to tell you that our workshop has been is closed. We have more than enough people for the workshop. Yes, she has a book. So Ring Out Your Sponge is a workshop that I am doing that's basically ringing out all your insecurities, your old belief systems, everything that you thought you were, and we're going to ring those out and we're going to put in and absorb new ideas and new thought processes and new belief systems. And we have great motivational speakers that's going to be speaking and helping us kind of ring out this sponge. And we're going to work through this workbook. And at the end of this workshop, you're going to feel so much better about yourself and you'll be ready to tackle on what your purpose is. A lot of us don't know our purpose and we're going to tackle that so you can get to know who your purpose is. So ring out your sponge. Now, see the website up there? I mean, the email address. The website is letstalk1943.com. If you're interested in coming to our next workshop, please just send out the comment section in my website. Just fill it out, and we'll get back to you and let you know when our next workshop is. This one is now closed, so we are going to have another one and another one and another one. As long as it's wanted, we'll be here for you. We want everybody to live in their purpose. That's the whole point of bringing out your sponge. So I'm looking forward to it. So March 1st is our first one. I'm so happy, looking forward to it. Um, Next thing is, hold on, sorry. All right, next thing is we have sponsorship opportunities for people who wants to advertise on this show. Let's Talk. This is a great platform. We have a great audience, and it's only $15 per show. And you just give us your social media, your media page or your flyer, and we'll definitely advertise it, and we'll let them know what you want us to tell them about your product or service. And if you go to let's talk 1943 at gmail.com, email me. I'll send you a Google form with all the details and information, and you'll just send me your flyer, and I'll let you know what show we'll be on, and we'll advertise your business for you. And it's like I said, it's only $15. If you just want to donate to our show, because we are out here helping motivate, uplift, and empower our people, and we are helping people to find their purpose. And so if you're interested in just, if it leads you to donate to us, we will love that as well. I will give you our information here. This is our Cash App for you to donate, and we would definitely use this money to help other people, like we're doing these workshops, and we could give people scholarships to be in part of these workshops. We have a lot of things we got to do. We got a lot of work to do out here, so we really want to help people. So if it's something of your liking to do, we would definitely appreciate your donations for Let's Talk 1943. And let's see. Carla, let's get this last comment I see here. And I think this is for Morgana.
All right, Neo Positivity says, how would Morgana address someone from poverty that doesn't believe in this quote unquote hippie talk?
Oh, I have been interviewed by the Wall Street Journal and Science and very, very non-hippie institutions. So there's a lot of neuroscience behind my process. The reason I use so much sense about having this full body experience is that's what creates the neuroplasticity, the challenge, and the heightened peak experience. It lights up all your synapses in your brain so that we can rewire your response to triggers. The whole point of this is we get overwhelmed and wounded by life. And what I want to do is sort of calm the overwhelmed limbic reptile brain, because that's where the genius zone and your creativity and your resourcefulness wake up, so that you can take a look at the same circumstance, but when you're looking at it through the eyes of your money honey who loves you and doesn't have any of your neuroses. And you can look at the same situation and partnership cuddling with your money honey. Not only are you relaxed and open and feeling confident and expansive, but through the eyes of your money honey, you can start seeing opportunities that you didn't see before. Mm-hmm. And you're also starting to have access to intelligence that your fear shuts down. The more fear, the lower your intelligence. What we call intuition or gut feelings, now they're discovering that the gut actually has a brain. And we pick up micro signals so often that are too small for our conscious awareness to be able to understand, why do I not trust that person? Why does that not feel right? But actually we want to be able to, those responses actually have an intelligence, because we've picked up something that we just have too much data going on to really be able to keep track of everything that we're taking in. So this is from a non-woo. I'm not teaching law of attraction. I'm not teaching you that money is a fairy that's going to go out and live your life for you or is going to protect you from yourself. You have the body. You always have the power in this relationship. But as long as money creates pain, you will have a very human response to want to protect yourself from the pain. So what we want to do is we want to replace that trigger with this kind of yummy, delicious, fun, easy feeling, because then you don't have to protect yourself from it. And if it shares your values, if you want to save the world and your money honey is like right there with you, I want to help, what are we going to do? Then you can move forward and you can make money without that conflict and that guilt and that shame that kind of churns off the spigot. The
Yeah.
whole point is honestly to serve love, lifestyle, and legacy. Those are the three things that make human beings happy. We're all on the same journey, all on the same journey to a life completely focused on love, lifestyle, and legacy. And money either gets in the way or money helps you get there.
And there you go. That's perfect. Perfect.
Mhm.
So we have 5 minutes left for the show. I just wanted to thank you once again. That was beautiful. And if anybody needs your information, as you see, it's shown on the bottom of the screen. She does her sessions. She's a coach as well. So if you want to reach out to her for services,
Can I please recommend that, because it's not on the screen, but the best place to go is morganarae.com. Just my name and a .com. And
okay.
I've got a free video series on that website. I also have my money love quiz. So easy peasy, pain-free self-assessment that based on what you need, it lets me know what to send you for your next step. And I always include free stuff. And my book, I created this book for all the people that I can't coach because I don't have time. I'm going off to Costa Rica. So I have, I have a manageable number of clients, but my financial alchemy book is a self-coaching system. And if you go to Amazon and you read the reviews, you will see people have had ridiculous results with the book, because I want you to have success whether you're with me or not. And by the way, people who have success with the book make great clients later. My friend Pam, my client Pam, I didn't know her before she was my client, but she had her first $250,000 sales month using my book before I even knew she existed. So Financial Alchemy, 12 Months of Magic and Manifestation, at Amazon or any bookstore anywhere in the world. If they don't have it, just tell them to order it.
Okay. All right. There you go. You got that. So let me just close out by letting you know that, of course, you know that we are on podcast as well. We are on, of course, you see us here, but if for some reason you can't watch us, you on any of your podcasts, we are there under Let's Talk 1943. So please join us on your favorite podcast. Our next topic, our next show is going to be March 13th. And ladies and gentlemen, if I don't tell you anything else, this show is going to be amazing. This show is going to be past amazing. It's a lady named Kimberly, and she has a story to tell. And the show topic is the unknown gifts of abandonment. And her life story it blew my mind. Like literally, my mouth was dropped while she was talking to me. I just couldn't believe what happened to her and how she persevered and how she is who she is right now. It's a mind-blowing story. So I recommend you to really join us. If you think you have something going on with you, you see this story, you be like, oh man, ain't nothing compared to what she went through. And she's an amazing woman. And I'm looking forward to that show. So that is March 13th at 7 p.m. So please tune in to that. And like I said, I'm so happy that you joined us today. This lady here is a best-selling author. She's been on every talk show, every network, everywhere. For her to join us today is a blessing. So thank you so much, and I hope we can stay in contact. And she's about to get married again. She's going to Costa Rica as we speak. She's going to just jump in the plane, and she's getting married 26th time this time. So congratulations again on your wedding.
Thank you.
She's doing 100. So, this tells you how life could be for you. Just being like this, you could do these things and do things you never thought in a million years you'll be doing. So,
I believe that change happens at the speed of safety. So as soon as I made love safe, I met my husband 2 months later. And I have a theory that, money is trying to get to you, but you keep pushing it away, or love is trying to get to you and you keep pushing it away. And when you finally stop pushing it away, you've built up like such a backlog that you can get so much more than you ever expected. And that's what I got with money, and that's what I got with love. And so If you aren't getting what you want, maybe it's not safe. Let's make it safe. Don't beat yourself up over it. Just make it safe to have what you want.
Yep, and that's our final words for tonight. So thank you again. I really appreciate you, and we love you here at Let's Talk. So as I said before, invite a friend. Let's talk again. Until next time, God bless.